Imagine a world where the dark flag flies high over Buckingham Palace, signaling the end of freedom in Europe forever now. The year is 1946, and the bells of Big Ben are silent, replaced by the marching boots of a conquering army. This is the timeline where history took a sharp and terrifying turn, changing the fate of billions of people on Earth then. It begins at Dunkirk, where the British Army is captured, not saved, forcing Churchill to sign a humiliating peace treaty. With the West secured, the German war machine turns its full, undivided attention to the frozen lands of the Soviet East. Moscow falls before the winter arrives, the Red Stars are torn down, and the Soviet Union collapses into total ruin today. The United States stands alone across the ocean, isolated and afraid, watching the lights of democracy go out one by one. In this dark reality, the invasion of America never happens. The ocean is too wide, and the cost of war is simply too high. Instead, a cold peace settles over the Atlantic, a terrifying staring contest between Washington and the new superpower. Berlin is transformed into Germania, the capital of the world, a city of marble and stone designed to intimidate all men. The Great Hall rises from the ground, a dome so massive that it has its own weather system forming inside the vast roof. Albert Speer's vision becomes reality, erasing the old streets to build grand avenues meant for eternal victory parades. Technology accelerates without ethics. Jet fighters scream through the skies years before they did in our own timeline. Rockets capable of reaching New York are placed along the French coast, a constant silent threat to the American people. The Mediterranean Sea is drained in a massive engineering project called Atlantropa, creating new land for the empire. It is an ecological disaster, but in this world there are no voices left to protest against the will of the victors now. Africa becomes a vast resource colony, its borders redrawn with a ruler, its people forced to work for the new industry. The culture of Europe is purged, books are burned in massive piles, and art that does not fit the ideal is destroyed too. There is no jazz, no modern art, no free press, only the endless, monotonous propaganda playing on every single radio. A generation grows up knowing nothing but the state, their minds molded by a system that demands absolute loyalty alone. Science advances in dark ways. Without moral limits, genetic experiments promise to create a perfect society of man. The space race begins early, not for exploration, but for dominance, to put a weaponized satellite in orbit above us all. In the Pacific, the Empire of Japan controls the East, creating a fragile alliance with Germany that is full of tension. The two victors divide the world like a pie, but trust is impossible between empires built on conquest and pure ambition. A three-way Cold War emerges between Germany, Japan, and the United States, with nuclear weapons waiting in the silos. Life inside the Reich is orderly but terrified. The secret police have ears in every wall, and neighbors watch neighbors. Resistance movements are crushed ruthlessly. The White Rose and other heroes are forgotten footnotes in a banned book. The economy booms on the surface, fueled by plunder and forced labor, but the soul of the nation is rotting from inside. Humanity's progress is frozen in a state of fear. Art, philosophy, and compassion are viewed as weaknesses to be crushed. The internet never happens, information is strictly controlled, and the world remains a series of disconnected islands. Medical breakthroughs cure diseases, but only for the chosen few, creating a biological divide between masters and serfs. London becomes a gray industrial province, its history erased, its monuments repurposed to glorify the new occupiers. Paris loses its light, becoming a playground for the elite officers who drink champagne while the city starves quietly. But history teaches us that tyranny carries the seeds of its own destruction. No empire can rule the world forevermore. Internal power struggles would eventually begin, generals turning against bureaucrats, fighting for the aging leader's time. The economy, built on war and theft, would eventually stall, unable to sustain the massive cost of occupying the world. Rebellions would spark in the shadows, whispers of freedom passing from father to son, waiting for the right moment now. The United States, fortified in the West, would become a fortress state, armed to the teeth, waiting for the inevitable. This alternate world is a nightmare of steel and silence, a place where the human spirit is crushed under a heavy boot. It serves as a chilling reminder of how close we came to the abyss and how fragile our current freedom truly is today. We often take our world for granted, forgetting that the outcome of the war was not written in stone, but in blood then. The sacrifices made on the beaches of Normandy and the steppes of Russia prevented this dark timeline from coming true. We live in the world that was saved. Imperfect as it is a paradise compared to the cold shadow of a total victory. So when you look at history, remember the version that never happened and be thankful for the heroes who stopped it then. The nightmare of a darker world remains only a story, a warning from the past to protect the future we have right now.